Hello everybody, this is Yashu Gola, FXEmpire's crypto market analyst, and in this video I want to discuss Bitcoin's amazing rise in the last 7 days. Just yesterday we saw Bitcoin almost hitting the $90,000 record high, and under the impression of Bitcoin we also saw altcoins rallying. But the last 24 hours have also shown us that many people are withdrawing from the market right now, that it is turning overheated. So let's first look at the Bitcoin dollar 4-hour chart. As you can see that we have come a long way since last week, actually rallied by 35%, like I said in the previous section, that we have come a long way, and the 90,000 target was reached recently. And during this time, the relative strength index on the 4-hour chart also rallied above 70, which is considered to be a overbought area. In other words, market is running ahead of its true pricing. Its demand is so much that it is becoming overheated right now. Historically, whenever the RSI crosses into this overbought region above 70, you can see that it happened in, for example, October 29. And right after that, the price corrected by as much as, let's see, 9.24%. So we are actually looking at a similar correction right now. People, in other words, are profit taking in this particular area. And we are looking at a possible consolidation in the coming days, and its a local target right now is around $85,000, and the upside is $90,000. So this is the correction pattern we are looking at in the coming hours or a few days. But if I go to the daily chart right way, the daily chart also shows you the same scenario. The RSI is very overbought right now. It's way above 70. And in the previous instances, you can see that the price had been correcting. For example, we saw a correction here, 9.25%. We had like a major one as well. If I completely compare it to the heights of this RSI level, like here, when we were rallying at this point, you can see that price topped up at around $73,600, and it went down by as much as 25% approximately. So we are looking at a similar scenario on the daily parameters, that if this $85,000 support does not hold well, then the price may decline even further. And to which part it could decline on the daily parameters, let's do a Fibonacci sequence chart here and try to figure out what kind of support levels we are looking at in the future. So this is the high and low I've created, and this is the resistance target we are trying to overcome right now, but we are not able to do that. So I think the next correction, the next big correction, is toward $73,679, approximately $73,500. But it will happen only if we break below the 85,000 support, as I showed you on the 4-hour chart. So further confirmation of a downside correction comes from the current crypto fear and greed index. As you can see that this is at 84 right now, which is considered to be a very extreme greedy area for traders. In other words, the market in this market, most traders right now are profitable, and when they become very profitable, their probability of selling off their holdings become higher. We have seen that in the past. There is a precedent here. In March, the crypto fear and greed index went above 80 and it became super extremely greedy, and at the same time Bitcoin topped at around $74,000. But you can see that because most traders became profitable, they started selling. And yes, this indicator turned out to be a bearish reversal indicator altogether. We can expect a similar scenario right now because we are actually extremely greedy right now as a market. So we can look at a correction toward 85,000. That's the most secular bullish target we have right now. That's the best case scenario. But like I said, if the price breaks below $85,000, we can crash toward $72,000 very easily. So I come back to the Bitcoin dollar chart, but this time on the weekly time frame. And the RSI on the weekly time frame is also overbought, but it's not that overheated in terms of long-term scenarios. You can see that in October 2023 particularly, we had crossed above this RSI 70 mark as well, but it coincided with, or it kind of like preceded, a very big boom afterward. So I think we are in the early phase of a very long-term good bull market, thanks to Donald Trump himself as well, because he'll be pro crypto and that might be able to make sure that we continue to rally in 2025, which is why we might see consolidation here. So even a crash towards $72,000 does not mean anything. It might be just an excuse for other traders to buy the token so that it can continue their bull run towards the next target at around $100,000. And $100,000 has been a very psychological target so far in the crypto industry, and it can be achieved pretty well in the early 2025, specifically after Donald Trump is sworn as the US president. Now I want to discuss some altcoins with you, but before that, it's very important that we look into this Bitcoin dominance chart. To those who do not know what is Bitcoin dominance chart, it is simply the strength of the Bitcoin's market cap versus the strength of the altcoin market overall. So the more the Bitcoin price goes up, it simply means that Bitcoin dominance index goes up. It means that the capital from the altcoin market is flowing into the Bitcoin market. And when this Bitcoin dominance starts dropping, it suggests that the capital from the Bitcoin market is now going into altcoins, which starts the so-called altcoin season. So as you can see the Bitcoin market dominance chart on weekly time frames, you have seen that the Bitcoin dominance is actually increasing a lot since the beginning of this year, particularly after the launch of Bitcoin ETFs. So traders just went lala over Bitcoin and they started ignoring most of the altcoins, and Bitcoin, that is why is attracting a lot of capital from the altcoin market and from the outside. But right now we are looking at an overbought trigger as well here, because the RSI of Bitcoin dominance chart on weekly has turned above 70. So yes, there is a possibility that we might correct. I'm not saying that it will overall crash from here, that people will start taking their capital out of Bitcoin market. There is not a possibility of that for now, but at least in the near term we can see a small correction of Bitcoin dominance toward this red wave. This is the 50-week exponential moving average, and this has acted as support during the uptrend, as you can see during the January time and then to the March time. So we can actually expect the price to come low, the dominance index to come lower to this particular level, 56.42% or approximately near that. And during that time, we can look at the top altcoins actually outperforming Bitcoin in the near term only. I'm talking about a month or two, or maybe by the end of this year. In this time, we can look at altcoins actually performing better than Bitcoin. So I have switched to the Ethereum dollar weekly time frame chart, and yes, you can see it's rallying. It's very good, looking good after the Trump winning as well. We were up 30% almost last week, in the past 7 days particularly. And then you see this trend line, that is also this ascending trend line support that has really turned out to be a good accumulation point for traders. We have seen amazing rallies from there, and one of the same rallies are taking place right now. All at the same time, we have a resistant trend line. Here you are. I draw it here, and you can see that we are also looking at some distribution patterns. Surprise falls here, it kind of like rises, and then you see some selling here, and then it drops again toward the this trend line support. Together they look like a symmetric triangle for me on the weekly time frame. And as of now, we are actually trying to go toward this top trend line, which is near $3,700 for a retribution, and then we can just come back again, and it might just keep consolidating in the coming days. So Ethereum, the November target for Ethereum is around $3,700 for sure. But if we see any retreat ahead of hitting it or after hitting it, this particular trend line's resistance, then the next natural target is the lower trend line in the long term. So like maybe by December, you might see a decline toward 2,500 area, which is still good compared to the lows here or of $2,000. So we are still up. It's still going into the consolidation mode, but we can, the near term target, like I said, 3,700, but if it drops, it's $2,500. So we're gonna be stuck in this particular situation in the long run for sure. The daily time frame chart of Ethereum US dollar, it's actually telling us the similar story. Right now we are correcting from this descending trend line resistance, and the next target is at its 200-day exponential moving target. So this is actually near $3,000, and if we can hold above it, there might be a possibility of a rebound by the end of this year toward 3,500 something. But if we break below this blue wave, I think the next target we are looking at is the 50-day EMA, which is around 2,500. Again, the same target I discussed on the weekly pattern, but it's approximately around 2,650 between this and this ascending trend line support as well. So yeah, I mean, that is where the worst case scenario is looking like right now. Like I said, it's still not a bearish market, because when Bitcoin is overheated and we see the Bitcoin dominance declining, Ethereum is the first one to benefit from it because it's the second largest token by market capitalization. Speaking about XRP, I think I'm mostly bullish on XRP this bull season in the crypto market, because it is one of the most underperforming tokens in 2024. At one point in time, its losses, year-to-date losses, were close to 40% down, like below zero, and while other tokens were rallying. Now, like after Trump winning in the recent weeks itself, like you can see that the XRP price on its weekly chart is breaking above this descending trend line resistance. It has been one of the most stubborn levels XRP has to deal with during its like long-term downtrend since April 21. So after beating above it, I think there is a solid chance that we totally break out of this level and we start approaching the level above it. Fundamentally, this is possible because of Gary Gensler. As you might all know, the current SEC commissioner, Gary Gensler, is a very anti-crypto person, and he has initiated multiple crackdowns against the crypto industry, and that also includes Ripple Labs, a company associated with XRP. Donald Trump, in his electoral speech, said very particularly that he will fire Gary Gensler the day he takes office. And if Gensler goes out of the way and a pro-crypto SEC commissioner replaces him, it will increase the odds of a conclusion to this very long SEC versus Ripple case. It has been running since December 2020, and that is the main reason why most investors and traders, they have refrained from buying XRP or having too much exposure in that cryptocurrency. So when that is done, when Gensler is fired, the next thing we are looking at is the potential of XRP ETFs in the US. And once they get launched, we are looking at more people, more institutions particularly, coming in and buying this very underbought token. When we talk about the recent years, I mean, it is the only token, XRP is the only token that has not reclaimed its all-time high after the 2017 bull run. So there is a lot of scope, upside scope for this token when I compare it to the other top ones like Bitcoin or Ethereum. So breaking above this particular level, like I said, it's a very good sign that we might see further gains in this market. To which levels? Let's check it out by using a Fibonacci. I draw it from the swing high to swing low, and we see that the next target he's looking at, it's 0.80 to $1 range. So this can be the near-term monthly target by maybe January 2025 or February or in the March. You know, in the first quarter of 2025 itself, we can see XRP getting boosted toward $1 thanks to Trump and the firing of Gary Gensler. So XRP indeed has a strong likelihood of going toward $1, but it should not be a smooth ride as this daily chart shows you. We are already looking at XRP correcting from its 0.75 level, because this horizontal level, as you can see here, XRP has not able to really close above it successfully in the recent months. And right now we are looking at the same scenario of testing this level and returning back to lower levels. But the conditions are quite different right now fundamentally because of Trump and Gensler's firing. I am hopeful that the price might correct, yes it might, but it might still go toward this particular descending trend line support level, which was a resistance in the previous one, and then it bounces again towards 0.75 and it continues rallying towards $1. This is the best case scenario I have in my mind because of the solid fundamentals only. But if the fundamental does not play out as intended, I think traders should watch for a successful close below this descending trend line support, because if the price drops below it, then we are looking at a very potential correction, extended correction toward this lower trend line support, which should be around 0.50, a psychological target as well. So this is the worst case scenario in the coming months for XRP. Alright, so now let's look at Solana dollar weekly chart, and this has to be the most interesting chart among the lot. As you can see, what I have noted here, there is a cup and handle formation happening right now. A cup is this U-shaped recovery which have happened like since November 2021 correction, and then we completely recovered that and come back. So we made a U-shaped recovery, and after that this handle pattern is the consolidation. So this is a technical pattern together, and it is considered a bullish reversal setup overall. Technical analysts believe, or they just have read the records in the past, and they have seen that whenever this kind of cup and handle formation occur, and when the price breaks above their common neckline, this is the common neckline resistance at around, for this case is like $214, sorry. So they note that when the price breaks above this horizontal line, it tends to rise by as much as the maximum distance between this neckline and the lowest point of this cup. So I have drawn this height here, and if I simply move this height here, imagining that the breakout will happen, then I'm looking at a possible valuation of $5,525 for Solana. And I'm not saying that this can happen tomorrow, or it can happen next month or next year, but it can probably happen as long as this bull cycle remains during the Trump presidency. Alright, so let's switch to the Solana dollar chart, and on the daily time frame we can see that Solana has entered an overbought correction similar to Bitcoin and Ethereum, and its next targets are looking at around 190, 175. I personally think that 175 is the next downside target because it coincides with another trend line. This trend line support I've drawn here, as you can see, this ascending trend line has been quite much of an accumulation zone in the recent months, and the price can actually decline from 200 to 175 in coming days. We can see some accumulation after that, and then Solana can continue its bull run later into the 2025 year.